My peeps, my peeps, my peeps. We got Chicago in the house tonight, Eric.
Chi-Town, man. It's like a whole Chi-Town show.
It is Chi-Town and then Maryland. Oh, I don't want to start it again. I go to click the button to stop it. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Jig Squad. I am Barracuda 8U. And this gentleman next to me is
the Minister of Culture.
The Minister of Culture, Mr. Epic Eric. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Man, good, man. Good.
Your tan's going away already, dude.
I caught a couple bass yesterday, bro.
Yeah, what were you testing stuff? You didn't almost lose things again, did you?
No, man. I was testing crankbaits for the 2 cold days, and then as it warmed up, I said, you know what? I've got these little things from. It's the stuff guys over in Europe use for perch. It's like a finesse swing head.
Yes.
A finesse swing head.
Yes.
And I sight fished too. I saw 3 little bass cruising the bank, so I let them by about 15 feet. I had to dead stick it in place for like a minute and a half. I tried to test myself on a cast to go, let me see how long 30 seconds is. It was an eternity. But anyway, I saw one bite it. The wind kicked up. All I could see was the little black line on his tail. And man, I
very
could see
nice,
the tail turn. I had all 3 of them there looking at it. And then I saw one flare his gills, caught it. And then I caught another one. I made it to the beaver dam. It's like 4:30. And I'm like, I'm going to catch a good one here at the beaver hut. And a client calls me. So I had to leave the pond.
Of course.
Some client stuff. I'm like,
see, dude, this is the new year and ready to go. Well, we got a good one tonight, right? Because we got Mr. John DeMay from Dem Jigs. In case anyone didn't know where the name Dem Jigs came from, John DeMay.
That's right.
Who I'm very excited is another Chicago guy. So I'm from the south side of Chicago. He's up north, but yet we know many of the similar places from over the years in the Chicago scene. So we're gonna get John in right away because there's no reason to wait because we like to go. John, what's going on, buddy? Welcome to Jig Squad. How are you, bub?
What's up, you guys?
I'm hoping we got some Chicago peeps in the house tonight because I think sometimes people see the name and then they know like this is a southern, especially the Chicago area, and then of course southern Wisconsin, and even in Wisconsin, everyone knows Dem Jigs, don't they?
Yeah, man. Sound off if you're from Chicago in the comments. But I got to tell you a story about Dem Jigs. They don't just work in Chicago; they work on my river. Man, I saw the Dem Jigs, and what got me, and we'll get into it a little bit later, was how he built the jig. I won't spoil it. And I'm like, this makes so much sense. Why haven't anybody been doing this for a while? So I paired it up with a Berkeley Chigger Craw. What's the Crazy Legs Chigger Craw? The one that has the extra tentacles on the back. It's post spawn. I'm dragging a little offshore in an area that's outside of spawning bay on some rock. I'm with Travis Manson. We're fishing a tournament. First fish of the day is a 6.33. Thank you very much, John. The next one's like a 4. Then I think I caught a 3 and change. Travis, meanwhile, is Carolina rigging. I'm like, you want a Dem Jigs? You want a Dem Jigs? You want a Dem Jig? He caught like 4 catfish in a row. And I'm like, why aren't you throwing the jig, man? Anyway, we came, I can't remember. We came in 3rd with 4 fish. I caught another 5 and then broke one off.
4 fish.
Oh, brutal, dude. Brutal. I did bust a 5 off dead stick in a Nico rig on a wall in a very pressured area. But anyway, man, Dem Jigs, thank you for helping me on that derby, man. That was a nice fish, man.
You know what? That's exactly why we do it. You know, it's not just a business. You know, it started out as a passion. It starts out as helping other people catch fish. It started with helping me catch fish, you know, being able to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad I could help. And I remember seeing your name on the sales list 4 years, 4 years.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Super impressed. I love the colors and I love the build. And again, as we get into it, I'll show it. I want you to show it and talk about it too. So
for sure.
But I thought it was a brilliant design, man. Yep.
John, so listen, so you are a jig maker and you are the proprietor of Dem Jigs. So tell me this, how many years do you think you've been making jigs, my man?
I can't even tell you. I've been. When did the Bitsy bug first come out?
Oh my God!
Good question. Let's see. There's some bait heads in the stream, man.
Yeah.
Let's see how far back we go.
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
Been out for a while, man.
Wow.
That's a long time.
Yep.
That's a long time. I've been tying my own jigs on other people's heads forever.
Wow.
Forever. I mean, I don't remember a time where I wasn't throwing my own jig. It has to be 20 years.
94s. Anthony Geis just said 94s when the Bitsy Bug came out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been a long time. I originally started tying my heads. Do you remember the Oldham's jig?
Of course. The screw lock one?
Yeah.
Dude, threw it all the time. Yeah. I mean, threw it on a 4-inch power worm constantly.
Hold on. I'm going to show you.
So show me something, man.
He's going to grab the oldies.
Woo, man. I can't wait to see it, man. I was throwing a 4-inch power worm.
This is about as plain. This is about as plain Jane as it gets. But this right here, see what that says?
First.
Oh, look at that.
That's pretty nuts. Holy moly.
Oh,
man.
my goodness.
Unbelievable.
That's an Oldham's jig.
Yep. Wow.
Wild, dude.
It was the idea, you know, the screw lock made sense.
Made a ton of sense.
Made sense to keep. Nobody else did it.
Nope.
I think 6 Cents came out with it.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I used to order heads from them. You know, 25 of this, 25 of that, and I would make them for me and my buddies.
Yeah.
It was the idea, and then you went, okay, I don't like the hook as much as can I put my own hook in it? Is there a way that I can get molds made? Is there a way that I could change the angle of the wheat guard? Sick and tired of throwing a big chunk of lead around with chipped paint. How can I make it more durable? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So John, you started off. Were you pouring? Because you and I, we've talked plenty and had some cool little conversations, but you started off pouring with the classic do it molds, right?
Yep.
The classic jig molds.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I and there was a great comment you made, which is funny because I'm still this guy, right? You said to you, the do it molds that you started with, those were like being a young kid starting with crayons. Like that's what you did. Like you started with do it molds. And I remember that state when you said that to me, because it was kind of like everyone started with do it molds, right? Or tying, as you said tonight, off of some other jigs that were already manufactured. But so you started pouring. But here you brought up something, and I'm just going to get right into it. But you brought up something about a screw lock, right? And I will tell you, based on what I know of different things that I have in front of me, and I'll show as we go. But there are a lot of you use screw locks a ton in your designs. Yes.
Yeah, in a majority of them. In a majority.
So talk to me about that process, because you decided to go with the screw lock because why?
Because it was for me. It was for me. When you don't sell soft plastics, when Strike King sells soft plastics, why would they put a screw lock that saves soft plastics?
True.
I was a dock skipper. I was sick and tired of my trailer coming, down the hook and fouling up a skip, or coming back all your bait was coming back bunched up on your hook when you knew you had a good one.
Even worse. Yep.
There's nothing worse than that. So what do? I think I put together every single component, and I think somewhere on my website it said that, like, the mission was to put in features that made sense. That not everybody uses a Gamakatsu hook. I'm a fan. I have been Gamakatsu since. I probably couldn't even pronounce Gamakatsu properly when they came.
Me too, man.
Came out. But I always, back in the day, I mean, they had a hook for everything. Nobody else did. They had a EWG, a ringed EWG, welded ringed EWG that I used every time I was fishing an EWG. Well, I used braid a lot when I was younger.
Sure.
Straight braid to Senko underneath.
Straight braid, right?
Nice.
I'm telling you, they had a hook for everything, and it just was a name that I trusted. So what do? You say, hey, I'm going to ask them. I'm going to ask them And it was funny because if they would not have, for one, my business, the whole business started with a football head. Okay.
Wow.
I always tied almost every jig, every type of jig that was there. I had, swim jigs back in the day. I still had grass jigs and flipping jigs, you named it, I tied it. But it wasn't a business. It was just for me. It was because I could get exactly what I wanted. Fine-tuned exactly how to tie and how it would last. And every once in a while you stumble across something. A buddy of mine showed me a jig from Japan. This has to be maybe 10 or 12 years ago.
Okay.
The Depths headlock jig came out.
Oh, wow.
It was a living rubber jig, no weed guard, a small little hook. It was, in fact, I'll tell the story. He may be watching, he may not. He told me about this jig. The designer, Kenta Kamara, I believe his name is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The designer of the jig showed him how to fish it. He showed him how to fish it. And then, it got out.
Wow.
It got out that this technique was really good. So we had a local tackle shop, Lee's Bait and Tackle.
Johnny, you guys listen. You got to understand, Johnny. John and I talked for an hour plus just about Lee's Bait and Tackle and how that place came to be over the years.
Did it become Lee's Global Tackle at one point? It changed, right?
Tackle.
It did.
Yeah, because I've ordered from Lee's. When I first jumped into JDM, I found them. I'm like, it was like a ray of sunshine. Like, what?
Right.
JDM baits?
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
That's a whole different. What do you call it? A wormhole? That's a whole different
for sure.
wormhole.
We're gonna go down that hole on another show sometime, John. We're gonna go on and talk like the Chicago scene because that's some great stories about Lee's.
For sure.
Right.
But anyway, go ahead, my man.
So this jig was, now keep in mind, a Bitsy bug was $1.49 at the time.
Cheap.
Yes. There weren't any football heads. I mean, there were no football heads. There were no.
Isn't that amazing?
There was no touchdown jigs. There were no booyah, whatever they have, and there was nothing. They had this thing dialed in, and it made sense. The jig made sense. It was wide head. I probably have a head. It was a wide head. This is one of mine. But that was, how do I do this?
Yeah,
I'll make you big. We got it.
Right there.
There you go, buddy.
Real wide. Okay. It never rolled. Here, now I'll show you this. The line tie back in the head automatically brings this up and retrieve. When it's dragging on the bottom, you're in hook set position, right? Crayfish up in defensive mode and all that good stuff.
Dude, John, hold on. I'm going to pause there and say that one more time, what you just said. Hook set position. So, guys, listen, I not the slow roll John and what he's saying here, but understand that weight forward head and that line, that's still a 90-degree hook, right? And because it's positioned back, you have to remember you're fishing vertically, right? You're down. When you're going to set that hook, it's almost in the exact spot, just off center from the weight where you're going to sit there and stick that fish. Mm-hmm. And those little simple things, like there are times, John, here, I'll throw one on it. There are times, depending on how somebody designs a jig, where you can have a 90-degree line tie on a hook. And depending on where it sits in the jig, it may be on the forward side of the head where it almost looks like it's a 60. And people don't realize it's not a 60, it's a 90. And it's just how it's positioned in the weight of the head. And there are people in this room right now that design that way. And I'm not throwing names out, but the point being, there are different ways things get designed, and people can't even tell by looking at a jig sometimes. But go ahead, carry on, John, because I love hearing this.
It's in the head because, for one, it was the first jig that let's start this off. When you're a fisherman, your goal in life is to copy emulate,
Yeah.
what other word? Deceive, lie.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is you're trying to deceive a fish by making him believe what you have is a crayfish.
Sure.
You are trying to copy colors of fish or crayfish to fool a fish. If something works, you want to use that and try and make it better. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
as a designer. But I wasn't a designer when I started with my first jig that I made myself from a hook.
And
I
you were
was not.
making that for yourself, though, John, right? You were making
Right,
that
right. So I didn't
to
care.
serve your own needs.
Correct. I didn't want to pay $9.50 for a jig that I was
Right,
going to
Chip in.
lose every 15 minutes. You know,
Yeah,
for
there's
sure.
no weed guard. You're stroking a jig. It's getting hooked up in rocks. It's getting just gone, you know?
right.
So what do? You try and duplicate it. So I had molds made out of Do It. I had a gentleman make me 1/2 ounce and 3/4 in a machine shop. He did this he was an old machine guy. He
Okay.
made it perfect. He made them perfect, right?
Wow.
He put a little slot in from the screw lock. So what did I do? I improved on their design by putting a screw lock in it because I wanted my bait to always stay put. And their keeper was just one little piece of metal. Their skirt, I couldn't get flat rubber. It was a flat rubber jig. It was impossible to get. There was so many stories like, oh, so-and-so bought the machine and he's keeping it in a warehouse until, whatever. That I bought round rubber.
Mm-hmm.
I tied jigs for a show for Lee's. He gave me a little section. He said, here, why don't you take this and let's see how it goes. I sold 1,200 jigs in 2 days.
It's so crazy.
And I had
Does everyone
guys
understand how crazy that is?
Yeah,
I
that's
do as a
really-
tire.
My dear friend, one of my best friends, Mario, we had them all on a wall behind us, and everyone was like kind of looking past us, trying to look at the jigs and stuff. And he turned around, grabbed a bucket of them, and dumped them on the table. And there was a line, like guys were just throwing them behind each other. It was crazy. It was awesome. It was one of
That's
the best
awesome.
things.
John,
But
is
there
this
was-
are you guys at Schaumburg or where are you at? What show?
We were at Schaumburg.
Schaumburg?
We were at the Schaumburg show. Yeah.
I got you.
There were pros.
So wild, dude.
There were pros that just made me feel great. How'd you do that? Show me how you did that. That type of stuff. I won't mention any names, but
John, hey, let's play.
They weren't big back then.
Let's play off of that a little bit. You just said something I want to ask a little bit more about.
Okay.
So, and I think we've all touched on this before. I know you and I talked about this a little bit, but there's everyone likes to be acknowledged, right? And
Right.
but when there are pro fishermen that see your work or the things that you make, guys, it's you guys all know this. It's somewhere along the way you've had somebody on whether Instagram or in your fishing club or whatever it is where they recognize your stuff and it just makes you feel good.
Right.
I hate to tell you, but this to me it's like a drug. To
Right.
hear those things from people and not be starstruck. Doesn't matter that they're a pro fisherman or anything else, but when you hear those things, everyone, the universal language is like jigs. Like you talk jigs and people,
Right.
it doesn't matter what level of fishing you're at, whether you're a recreational fisherman, a professional, a pro, or what it is. But when you hear those people say that, it helps you understand how bridged the gap really is sometimes. And I don't even think we fully realize that. That's a great, when you said that, John, it made me think it's kind of like, it is validation because if somebody likes it who fishes at that level, that validates your work, right? And that's rewarding, tremendously rewarding.
Yeah, and you know what? They do it for a living. Like these guys do it for a living. I don't tournament fish for a living. If I did, I'd be 115 pounds and starved to death. These guys, you know, they do it. They're professionals, and I give them all the kudos in the world.
Heck
You
yeah,
know,
man.
when you're showing guys, when you get in, so this is one of the guys. Okay, Schomburg show. I'm going to say 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I hand this guy a handful of jigs, and I say, "Here, you got to try these in a Ziploc bag." Right? He's looking at him. You know, you could just see the wheels turning. He's a young guy, and
He's feeling them.
he had a Ziploc bag with these things, and he came over to the table where I was tying because we were selling out. And I'm like, okay, I'll make him more.
Oh, wow.
Like, here's 6 more black and blue. Go. You know, he comes over. He's like, okay, can you show him how are you doing this? How are you doing that? Right. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud that I figured out this stupid technique of tying that makes the wire invisible in my football heads. You can't find it. And it makes the skirt fly open. Well, that person was set fighter when before he was an Elite Series guy.
How about that?
And
that's a big deal, man.
Probably the same show, you know, you sell a bunch and then you're on cloud 9 because you know that the guys that do this are welcoming you into the industry. They're like, you got it.
It's like getting invited into the tribe.
Yes.
That's exactly right.
The circle of trust. Circle of jig trust. In jigs we trust.
In jigs we trust. Right? Eric, we're gonna get that shirt made.
Oh, it's got
with a nice flow above it or something, or something crazy.
No, man, flow is the other thing. In jigs we trust stands on its own. Doesn't need flow, color design.
You don't need
jigs
nothing.
We trust, brother.
It's all possible, my friend.
Yeah, man. So, John, I got a question for you, man. We ask everybody this, and I think I asked the first guest we had. What do you think of when you're designing a jig? Is it flow, color, or design? I mean, from me hearing you talk, you thought a lot about the design in the early days. Now, how do you attack it from like beginnings to today?
Now I'm completely opposite of what I was when I first started.
Fascinating.
For one, I don't call it design. I call it purpose.
Okay.
What is the purpose? What am I trying to accomplish? What's the problem? Right? What's the problem? Does it not come through cover? Does it not? What's the problem? Solve it. I haven't on a whole lot of stuff, but I have remedied and changed positions of hooks, and people don't realize that 5-degree difference in a line tie gets you through cover or doesn't. 5 degrees on a weed guard.
Great comment, dude.
I don't call them weed guards. I call them brush guards because weeds need a head to go through. The weed, it's a brush guard. It stops you from getting hooked on a stick.
Yep.
Or a dock or a fuel line on a
That's
boat.
fascinating. Pin that comment, Kuda. 5% makes the difference. That's crazy.
It does.
And
It
then
does.
all the testing that goes into that, man. So you're purposeful in your design.
Let's make you big.
Let's take a look at this. This is the new swim jig, right?
Yep.
That's a new swim jig.
Wait. I know that color. I know that color. Ooh.
It's delicious, baby.
Oh boy.
Let me just name all the stuff in Jigs We Trust. Delicious.
You did. That was a good name. Delicious.
Thank you. Delicious, baby.
Yeah, that's good.
You damn right it is. Anyway, so talk to us about that design. I mean, there's a purpose to that. I want to hear about the concept there. You don't have to break down the secrets of what you did, but let's talk about it because that's a very unique looking jig.
There's no secret behind it. Thought went into it a lot. You look at. I guess I've been inspired by JDM products, by companies from Japan, just because they're artists. They're and it isn't the art; it's functional art.
True,
functional art.
True,
Love
they're
it.
engineers. The engineering.
There's a reason.
Right. There's a purpose and reason behind the engineering, but it's well thought out.
and it's hard for you to see it, and I'm not going to hold up stuff, but you guys have the new swim jig. There are, okay, for product longevity, for lack of a better term, the eyes, although they're 3D, they're set in with what everything else has, you know, brow lines and cheeks that protect the eye.
Yeah.
It protects the eye. So it's a longevity thing. It looks cool, but there's also, there was a roundness to most swim jigs. And you know what? Everybody, you know, do you like chocolate? Do you like vanilla? Do you like strawberry? I have the grass up here, and I guess I was a little selfish because I do design for me, and then I hope that the world will engage with it someday. But here, I don't know if you can see that.
That's a good view.
Yeah. Good angle there, buddy.
It's pointy, but it's also round.
It is
one of the best jigs all around. I had this discussion with another jig maker buddy, Ryan Whitaker. He said something about, you know, what's the best head? He said the ball head. It deflects. It deflects off a cover. So I have it pointy enough to get through grass. I have it round enough to deflect off of trees and bushes and dock posts and all kinds of stuff. Everything was done with a purpose. On the swim jig, I have the same hook that's in my flip swim, which is a custom Gamakatsu super line hook. Everybody used to look at a Bravarni jig. Amazing jig. I use them. They're light wire, great for hookups.
But in my Potomac River grass, you will get your feelings hurt. I need something beefier. That's the truth. That's a fact. I love a Bravarni jig just as much as anybody. It's the OG, right? Kinda.
Yeah.
It's a well-known jig in the northern, in our circles. Bravarni is one of the kings. That is true. Yes. John knows this, right?
He got it right. He got it right. But the beefier hook, tell me more. Custom Gamakatsu.
Right. It's strong, but there were a lot of people. I had them at a show once, and God, when I designed the flip swim, in addition to the football heads had a lighter wire, but that was a custom hook from Decoy when Decoy was in a 1,200 square foot facility in Japan. When they actually made their own hooks, they made me my own hook.
That's incredible.
It was a black nickel Jig 11 hook. They make it today. It's silver only. They make it for me in a black nickel. I'll never forget when I asked how many did I have to buy, and they said 4,000.
That's it.
Said, sold.
That is it. Oh my God!
They made you a custom hook. 4,000.
They made me a custom hook.
Crazy.
That's Decoy, John.
Decoy.
Do you have any of those jigs? Do you have any of those jigs left? Show me the hook. I want to see it.
Yeah.
4,000.
That's crazy. That Decoy made him a hook, dude.
I thought he was going to say 25,000, 40,000.
I can't believe Decoy made him a hook.
And that could have been 25, 40 could have been less.
He's talking to Japan.
Good gosh.
This is.
Wow.
Well, I'm going to make you big, Jim.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Beauty.
This is a Jig 11 hook. It's a stout hook. It's not a flipping hook. It's a stout hook in regards to all the other hooks they made. I had a whole bunch, So
did you spec the wire? You told them what diameter you wanted, right?
This gauge.
It's a bad little bitch, man.
Yeah, it is
very nice.
It was perfect. And here's what I got out of people that used it. I don't lose fish. I said, yeah, because there's no flex in the hook. There's no flex in the hook. There's no weed guard for one. So a lot of guys will lose fish due to a weed guard hindering their hook penetration. But the idea of using a different hook was what I wanted to do, because I guess when you're copying somebody, you don't want to wear the same color shirt. You know what I mean?
Right.
You want to change something for the better. You want to
Sure.
you want to see where maybe other jigs have gone wrong. What would change it? What hookup ratio? Spot on. The moment I started using it.
Wow. That's crazy. How many do you have left of that original 4,000? Gone?
Oh, gone.
Oh my gosh. At
So
the bottom of some lake or sold.
So here's the thing. I bought them once I bought the original 4,000. I bought them 1,000 at a time. I bought 4/0 and 3/0. I still have probably 500 or 600 3/0 somewhere that I use in my tube jigs when I pour my own. And there was a change. Okay. And the change came because I was waiting 4 months. I was selling. So I molded a lot of these out of my garage. Okay. In fact, the first 5,000 that I made were in a garage sitting.
Wow, dude. It's a lot of molding.
Yeah, it was horrible.
It's horrible.
He had to use the adjuster a few nights in a row. On his brain.
I'm going to make a Jigsquad adjuster and sell it. Little scraps of 2x4. It'd be hilarious. Yeah. Like a buck. I include them on all future maybe merchandise orders down the line. You get an adjuster.
Yes. So John, awesome. 5,000 in your garage. That's crazy. But then
it's a lot of jigs.
Did you start to run into supply chain issues? You said you were ordering 1,000.
I did. Once it started taking 4 months to get hooks.
Ooh.
I kind of went, all right. And then I got a tip. I found out the owner 5313 is the hook that was in the depths hook jig.
Okay.
I wanted it to be exactly what I was using when I was having success, right? And I was starting to have supply chain issues. I never doubted the Decoy. If they said, hey, we'll give you, access to 10,000 of them, I change it. But I changed it over to the owner 5313 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
Is it that one with the curved point?
Yes.
Yeah, with a little curve.
Yeah. What is the purpose of the curve?
I think it's
like when the hook designer was thinking about this, what were they thinking about? Tell me, I don't know.
Circle hook, maybe.
Oh,
John's right. It is the foundational end where when you set that hook, it's going to be a slight roll that's going to initiate that skin hook. And then as it pulls through, because of the rest of the design, it's going to hook similar to how another hook would. But function is similar to what a circle hook would accomplish. Now, listen, I'll tell you something. There are guys that'll turn around, and I think the 53, I like this owner hook. There are people that said, "Oh, I don't totally like it." But the thing is, I personally, for a long time, John, ironically enough, I used a 5318 as my tube jig hook for lots of years. Up until, no joke, until about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I was using 5318s in my tubes.
Wow.
And I had a lot of guys, and to be honest with you, the reason I backed off of it is because too many of my guys in my scene for smallmouth on the Great Lakes or Lake Michigan were telling me that they were breaking off. And I wasn't, but they were also fishing more than me. And so I wound up switching. Off? What's that?
What do you mean they were breaking off?
They were breaking the hooks. And I don't know if it was a series of a bad batch that they got, but it was enough to scare me where I started throwing Gamakatsu 604s, and that's what I started making my tube jigs out of. And for a while, here, I'll tell you one more. For a while on the tube jigs I was making, I was going up when we were throwing 3.5-inch tubes. I moved up all the way to 4/0 hooks, Gamakatsu 604s, and now you can't catch me with a 4/0 Gamakatsu 604. I'm going down. I'm making 2-aught because I'm throwing small tubes now almost exclusively.
That's crazy.
But that's my world.
So
If
is that 604 that little stout Gamakatsu short shank?
604, Eric, that's the one. It's build. They call it a heavy wire. They call it a Gamakatsu heavy wire, a 604. I personally don't view it as a heavy wire. I will tell you this.
But is it short?
No, it's not, Eric. You remember all those freestyle jigs I made for Florida and was catching tarpon on and snook and that stuff down in Florida?
I remember looking at them, but I have to see the hook to know what I'm talking about. Go ahead,
Let's
John.
see. Here, let me make you big, John.
Okay, you got the red. You got the red. I really
There's
like red.
604.
That red's sexy. I'm about red, man. I love it.
Now, what's crazy about the? Oh my God, John, Eric's gonna lose it.
Hey, bet you didn't know they freaking made a G-lock in red. And look at the eye on that. We'll talk about that later.
Wait till you're
from Lithuania. John from Lithuania. It's a Gami G-lock. What?
No.
Swear to God, with this big, it's a perch thing. I'll show you the package. It's got foreign writing on. I don't know what the hell it
all right,
says.
so hey, all right, Eric, let's have this conversation with John. John,
well, we're getting into hooks. This is the hooker section.
Yeah, this is the hooker section of Jig Squad. So, John, here's the thing.
Let me add to that. You get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for.
It's a hook thing.
John, Eric. So Eric loves red, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to play off of Eric's red because for the longest time, I had a very long run where all my drop shot hooks were all red. I don't know why. It's what I used. Since then, I'm not using the reds as much. You have a box of 604s.
Real quick, I want to know, is your red 604 gold underneath? These hooks
That's
are
a good
gold.
question.
The trebles that I use that are the number 5s, which is an odd size for a treble. I don't want to get off topic here too much.
5.
But red for one, as it like goes through cover and the bass bite it, it starts to shed the red, and now it's got gold. It's like a little bit of gold with red, so I get a little extra flash, not too crazy, but so I get a little double thing going on.
What is it, like anodized?
It must be. The treble hook is gold, and so is this thing, dude. I caught some fish on it yesterday.
So are you pouring with those, John?
Anyway, go ahead.
To what extent are you using those, or what applications are you using, or what type of jigs are those for? A rainy day?
So I do a ball head. I do a ball head with screw lock. I do them.
Stop the present. You do a ball head red with screw lock?
Yeah.
Folks, this has been Jig Squad. That is almost enough to do the show right there.
That's it. Thanks for coming tonight. You just landed in the custom. This is JDM domestic.
I'm a ball head guy. I'm like Whitaker. I'm like Ryan from Tightrope Fishing. I am a ball head nut. I love it. I use it when I shouldn't, and I use it when I should.
You know what? If you have problems with baits rolling, you move to a football, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would think, in theory, when you're not bouncing off a cover, when you're not trying to get it through weeds, you're doing a sturgeon bait, 3 foot deep, slow roll, tiny little. That's the niche. Now these are 3-aught, right?
Beautiful.
I have a buddy of mine that fishes sturgeon bait. He asked me probably like 5 times so far in the last 2 years to make him a bunch of red ones. I will. But the football head, I gave you guys some. Did you see them or not?
Yeah, the small ones.
Yeah, those are no. Is that it? The tiny one, 3/16.
Yeah. This has got to be the tinies.
Yeah,
you don't think?
Yeah, it's 8. Those are 2-aught. I have 1-aught, 3.
These are 8th. I just showed, right, John?
Yeah, 8th and 3/16.
Let me look.
So there's 2 weights and 2 hook sizes.
Mm-hmm.
So one goes 2-aught with both weights, and one is 1-aught with both weights.
Oh yeah, I see the difference
with both weights, I should say. And Kyle Carpenter asked me to get a mold made, and he
Really?
bought like 1,100
from the real shot.
Oh, I
Yeah.
did notice, John. I see that they're different sizes. It's 8th and what? 6th, 8th and
3/16.
3/16.
3/16. Yeah, they're perfect. The little 2/0 is great on the 2.8 Kitech,
Yeah.
Keytech,
Oh, yeah.
whatever you want to call it, and then the 1/0 is absolutely a stud with the Megabass Spark Shad. The little
Really?
That's my
whatever it
fave,
is,
bro.
the
That's
2-inch.
my fave. Yes, the
Dude,
2
I'm telling you.
point something. I've caught some. I caught like a 7 at Smith Mountain on that thing.
That's
I was
And-
using the
but
Gamakatsu ball head, but anyway, it didn't have a screw lock. Wish it did.
Yeah, right. And that's, I guess,
Yeah.
why he wanted to do that.
Yeah.
it's hard. Those are two great sizes. They really are. And I mean, 2/0
For
2/0
tight
is
lining,
just the
for
juice
sure, man.
all
It
around.
is.
And you know, I'll tell you what, John, I don't think that I would have realized how much I could utilize a 1/0 hook. And it wasn't from fishing the Great Lakes, I can tell you that. My experience with the 1/0, sorry, I'm just plugging in my laptop here. My where I learned that I could be highly effective with a 1/0 size hook and ball heads mostly was when I was wading the rivers for smallmouth. Northern Illinois rivers, predominantly the Kankakee River. And I would get in the water.
Did you say Kinky River or Kankakee?
The Kankakee.
Never heard of it. Kankakee River.
Kankakee. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And from that experience of fishing the Kankakee River, we like a 1/0 hook on a ball head. I would literally go to the river and I would fish 8th ounce and 16th ounce ball heads when I was in the water. Now, if we're out of a jet boat and stuff like that, we'll fish, you know, heavier jigs depending on the current flow. But when I was wading in a river, I learned to fish for smallmouth swinging through current seams and holes with 8th and 16th ounce jigs with, no joke, Mr. Twisters on the back end and all types of little paddle tail swim baits. But I will tell you this, because of that, fishing the river like that, it taught me how to use a ball head in ways that most people probably couldn't, to get through cover, to do different things, and to maintain line contact or jig contact, and how much I could actually get away with having some little sway in my line. And I'll never forget what I've learned from that. And so when I go to the Great Lakes, I feel like I'm magic with a ball head, right? Like I feel like I could do things that most people can.
That's awesome, dude.
But I will say that the football head has helped me. It's allowed me to adjust how I fish when I'm fishing the Great Lakes. And it's been a rewarding experience, because for a lot of years, I would only fish a ball head on Lake Michigan on the southern end. And now using a football head, it's changed everything for me, to be honest with you. Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. And I love that these screw locks are on these jigs. These are next level, buddy. They're great. Eric, you got some of these little ball head, some of the footballs too? They're beautiful.
No.
Maybe not.
I probably put them in the bag upstairs.
They're probably in the bag already.
I got some dim jigs bags, man, for sure. Let me look.
John, somebody asked, I just want to ask this because somebody had asked about this. Somebody asked about the oh gosh, what did they say? Are one of the Joe footballs they asked are not being sold on the website or just out of stock? Or
okay, so I took them down. I took them down because of material. I can make them as the originals with round rubber. I spoke, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the whole flat rubber scene and where it went and who did what, but Andy's from Andy's Jigs.
yes.
Yeah.
He produces the flat rubber. So I called him and I said, okay, I need some. And he goes, I only have 300 pounds. And they're for myself. And I said,
300 pounds forevermore?
300 pounds because of COVID, because the factory shut down.
Got it.
He did not want to part with a pound of it.
Wow.
So I have some. I went directly to Lure Parts online and I bought every little 5-foot piece they had.
Wow.
And I made as many jigs as I could. I still have some, but I'm afraid that if I leave them up, somebody's going to go give me 30 and then I'm done. Now, if people could ration, we'll do
it. Right.
So John, they can
put them
find
up there by everything.
Right.
So if you're looking, guys, there are links down in the show description below the video on YouTube. But here's Dem Jigs where you can find them online. But like I said, the link is also down below in the description. Check John's stuff out. I mean, lots of cool stuff. I mean, it's just like I said, we're doing this about stories, but at the end of the day, just to see these different things, and pretty much your bread and butter are those three things: 1, 2 types of football jigs, right? And then also this new swim jig. Is that up on the site yet, John?
It's not. So for one, also the new swim jig does not have a screw lock.
The new swim jig does not have a screw lock. I got you.
I fought with my head. I fought with myself over it. I developed a tool that allowed. Okay, so for one, somebody in the jig business, they have a really good jig business. Told me there's no money in hand ties, and I said, "You're right."
We had this conversation a little bit the other day, John,
and I get it. So when somebody says that to you, that's very successful in the jig business, you go, "All right, maybe I could do this to make money and do this to satisfy the profession or the passion part, right? Do hand ties for buddies and do rubber banded to make money to pay for the material, right?" So that said, I use my jig. I'm like, all right, I'm going to put bands on them. I bought some bands and I couldn't get them over the top of the screw lock.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, dang it. It's not going to be simple. It takes me 1 minute and 15 seconds to tie a jig. This jig took me 1 minute and 15 seconds to tie. It takes me like a minute to fumble with my fat fingers to try and put this band over the top of a screw lock and then get it up on to the keeper, right? So I've
tried that. That's hard.
Right. But I developed a tool, and you'll recognize this Gambit
tool.
Yeah. Okay. This isn't the one. The one I did, I ground down enough to put a band on it. Then you open it up and put it on the jig, right? So as things happen, when I hand tie, so this is not a hand, is this? Yeah, this is a hand tie. So when I'm done with a hand tie, every single hand tie, every single one, I don't know. I pull as hard as I can. And then I mess with the colors. I pull it as hard as I can. And then it's done, right? Well, out of habit, when I banded the first jig, I pulled on it and it popped off and it went right into the spring. And I went, oh, that's not good. The first time this thing comes off, my customer's going to be cussing me because he's got to use a pair of scissors just to save the head. And then what do you do with it? You can't put another one on unless you have one of these tools.
Oh, I've done it without a tool and bled for it.
Yes, it's not fun. It's not.
God, no.
The purpose was to make things easier, not more difficult. So I literally had the 3D drawing. I had everything done, designs done, prototypes done. And I went, stop. Do me a favor. Give me a great metal keeper. Give me that because this is not going to work. And I stopped it. And I'm glad I did. Because now I could, do 200 jigs in an hour, throwing them on, but they're not for sale on the website. The reason I did it was for the bigger stores, the potential for some bigger people that I want to be able to facilitate and I want to be able to supply them and be able to. I have, plenty of stores that carry them, not the swim jig, my hand ties. And when they order 500 jigs, I'm like, oh, I got to make 500. I got to make 500 jigs, or I got to make 200. And it's not a quick thing. So you kind of go, yeah, remember when you were young and you used to cut your lawn? It was fun. And then you had to. You had to. Now it's a job.
Yep, I feel you, brother.
So John, tell me, so silicone is your game, but you play around a little bit. Did you send me some hair? So John sent me some hair things, and I think he did it just to amuse me, because you're not selling hair, right?
No.
Any type of hair jigs. So of course, what does he do? He just shows me that he's able to do these things. He starts sending me some hair.
He teases it with hair.
He does, but I'm gonna show this little gem, because black is cool, but I think this white one is killer, and I really like it, John. So I'm gonna show this one with the ultra minnow head. Look at this little gem. You guys see this?
Oh,
look at the eyes. You see the eye on that?
Sexy.
I love it. And then hold on, wait. I'm just telling you, just so you know, John does all kinds of cool things.
He does.
Hold on. And by the way, John, I did take note that there are 2 different sizes here of this. Oh, you guys see that?
Wacky.
No. You know what this is? This is a drop shot, baby.
Oh.
And you know what hook that is, Eric?
Don't even tell me it's a BS Stinger.
It's a B10S, I think. Is it, John? Do you know?
It is a B. The bigger one is a B10S. The other one is a worm hook.
It's a worm hook.
Decoy worm size 1.
Fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, Eric, you must be missing a whole bag. I gave you a whole bunch of stuff. I literally made 2 of stuff, or I saw stuff. If I had
Kuda,
2,
you sure you didn't get my bag?
It said EE on it, was scratched out and said Kuda. I don't know what the hell happened.
Eric, did you not get any hair jigs?
I didn't.
They're in there.
Kuda got my hair jigs.
Maybe they were supposed to be for you, dude.
No.
I'll find them.
Maybe
They probably came the week I went to Florida, and I came back to like work.
I just next date them. I next date them.
They just came the other day.
Oh, you mean to like they are in my mailbox?
They could be.
They might be, Eric.
Damn,
I literally, when did I get them, John? Was it yesterday we were talking?
Yeah,
or Tuesday?
John, everything I pulled out was from before. So I'm showing stuff that I've had, that I.
Oh, no, you got stuff coming in, Eric.
Oh.
No,
because I have a little. I've showed your stuff on other streams. I have my little Dem Jigs thing.
It's in a folder.
Oh, man, no, I did not get it. Did it arrive? Did you get it? It must be in my mailbox.
It's
Eric, in the mailbox. I next date it to your house.
I got 2 packages. I don't know what to tell you guys.
Well, I could leave for 10 minutes and come back. Damn it, Kuda, you didn't tell me next date stuff.
I thought you had it.
I had Dem Jig stuff because I bought Dem Jig stuff 5 years ago.
Oh no, this is the new good stuff.
Oh no, I've got new good stuff from John since 5 years ago.
I'm sure it's coming, Eric.
I want the new stuff.
Eric, you got to understand, John's like not even 30 miles from me, right? And you're like,
that's just not real. That's not fair. I don't want to hear it. I really don't, because I would be in John's garage in his shop.
I've seen John's garage. I'm going to go up and visit and have a cocktail with him.
I'd plow snow for him just to hang out with him to talk bass fishing, dude, for fucking free. Oh, I said about it. I hope they didn't hear that. Dang it. Anyway,
that is so funny. John, tell me this. All right, so your box is coming, Eric. Yes,
John's got a bass brain. Everybody, for everybody who doesn't know, I've had some bass conversations with John. He is, I think, first and foremost, yes, you design to solve problems, but listen to what I just said. You design to solve problems. So you think about the purpose, but in that purpose thought, you are a designer. Like, you're a master designer in my brain. I mean, you've waded into the JDM world. You appreciate the artistry and the mastery of the way they engineer their products for a purpose, whether it's for a specific action. I like how you think you're trying to solve a problem and for a purpose, but that speaks all about design. And then everything else comes, flow and color, because you really do have a great color sense as well. I mean, you build some beautiful things, but And John's a fisherman, which is really cool. I mean, he's out there competing, and just take a look behind him. He's got some gear to show that he can catch them.
Yes,
So
he does.
yeah, man. So he's a straight up bass head. It's not just about jigs. John is a bass head. He happens to have a super talent in jigs. So anyway, that's my little ode to you, John DeMay. What can I say?
John, let me say this. So I always so the big joke over time, it's not the big joke, but I think that the big impetus behind Jig Squad was about these concepts of flow, color, and design, right? Eric's talking about. So when I came up with them, they basically, and I put them in order for what excites me, like what I think about when I design, right? So that's why I did it. But it doesn't mean that they're not interchangeable and they can't be adjusted, and everything doesn't mean design. So that's why it's nice to hear everyone talk about it. But I'm going to say something about you and what I see and how you design just because of the stuff you sent me. So, and this is not to say that other jig makers don't do it. I just think there are certain jigs that I see from designers that excite me for certain reasons. Maybe because it reminds me of some of the things that I appreciate in designing a jig too, or some of my strategies. But here's the thing that I've never got to say as much about. But even though I put flow first, because I think that leads to how I want a jig to look, what I want it to do, what's the function of it. But I will tell you this. The other thing I don't get to say that much is color excites me more than anything else. Eric knows this. But the thing is, there is flow of color. And what I mean by that is how colors interact with each other. And, I grew up in a household. My mom was an art teacher, right? My two sisters, one became an interior designer, one became a graphic designer. And then there was me that was a little bit of all those things, but never went into that field. But I love how colors interact with each other. I like bright colors that are standouts, but I also like flow of color, like earth tones and stuff like that, especially greens. And like you guys aren't going to see it as much on this one, but this has got some of that magic crawl blue in there. But there's some browns and greens in here that are just, the lighting stinks comparatively to what I would like to show. But this would be an example. Like, these are my type of jigs, right? Like, I love this for bass. And because the colors flow together, right? And I dig the way you design. I mean, you probably have made more jigs than we would ever know about, but the ones you've picked as your primary bread and butters on your site and what you have, they're extraordinary, dude. Fit and function.
No question,
they're just clean. They're phenomenal. I love them, dude. Color, Larry Hadley, guys. I gotta do my every stream. John, have you ever seen Larry Hadley stuff? He on Instagram is let me see, Larry, if I get this right. ANGLU. Is it the Angler or just at Angler? No, it's the. I think. Let me confirm. Where's my phone? So Larry Hadley has gotta look, and I gotta make sure. So Larry Hadley, everyone's all clamoring about his paint jobs. He basically paints like a multicolored head. It's the Angler. I'll put it in chat. But anyway, Larry makes some phenomenal painted heads, and I just love them. And every time I see him talk, I just think of how he paints heads. They're some of the greatest painted heads I've seen. Look at Trippy Sticks is in here too. He's been putting out some cool heads too. And but anyway, dude, Larry Hadley likes color. I know that. And Larry Hadley mostly, John, how about this? So a lot of guys that like the brighter colors, sometimes we normally think of them as some of the saltwater fishermen. Talk to me about brighter colors compared to like the browns and greens and earth tones. Are you ever designing any jigs that you would use for specific applications for northern bass fishing?
Like the shot colors.
Shot colors. Would you?
That's what I like.
Would you ever design in those type of styles, and tell me why? When you would do that?
I have tied plenty of flamingo pink swim jigs. I have pink and gray, things that don't necessarily look like nature. To see, there are a lot of guys that were, guys that I think about all the time as far as just veterans of the sport, and they will look you straight in the eye and in no less words say, you need 2 colored jigs, black and brown. And that's it. And that's how it goes. And I get it. You only need 1 color shirt. Just you do.
But
why do you have many? Because you're trying to just figure something out. You're trying. Hey, I like. You go in my closet. I have like gray and blue, right? But you go into my tackle box, and I have every color there is. There are jigs that I tried to do to say, okay, this gentleman wants me to do. I did a 20 or so tilapia.
Okay.
I looked at them and I went, I'm not going to give you these. They're good.
Right.
They looked exactly the color concepts that he sent. People send me pictures all the time. I get pictures of crayfish claws. I get pictures of, whatever. But some people send me pictures of weeds. They're like, this is what I want it to look like. But I feel like when I do something over the top, I feel like it's always geared towards a smallmouth, right? I feel like it's always geared to a smallmouth. I feel like largemouth are just dumb and they want turd colored jigs, and they're dumb. They just want what natural looks like, and that's it. Bright colors seem to shun them away unless it's river fish, which I feel a river largemouth is more like a lake smallmouth any day. I fish La Crosse, Wisconsin, and these things they'll hit a white swim jig harder than anything, right? You throw a white swim jig in a lake by me, they turn around and run, but there's so many colors that guys want to have. They got to have it. And
that's a good comment.
There's still not a person in this planet that can tell you what color they see that bass can see. I mean, once you hear one guy say, did you know red's purple underwater? Did you know that chartreuse is like gray at 22 foot deep?
So you mentioned it earlier, John. Yeah. How about, I'm just going to say it because I get to say it, right? Pink, and I'm not going to say the crankbaits because it's probably one of the most popular jerk baits anyone ever throws, but pink and any version of pink anything. And, I've been on fishing trips with guys, if we were sight fishing, that they would use, they'd go through 1 pack of bubblegum TRDs for the whole week, and like, it just, pink, smallmouth love pink, that doesn't matter if it's just, what's
pink
that
trick?
You'll throw a pink trick worm, Eric, and that's something like I don't throw a pink trick worm, but
pink buzz bait, pink spinner bait for show.
Yeah,
crazy.
I've never seen a pink crankbait though yet.
I suspect one's coming now.
I have a pink wattle bat.
Yeah, I do too. That pink and pearl white. Yeah. You're right.
And Molex makes one as well. I have one. It's almost like a duplicate of a.
Do they really?
Molex.
I've seen crappie cranks in pink for sure.
Hey, look at what Andrew said. Fishing to 262. Al Linder, hot pink X-Wrap in every episode. If it's good enough for Al, it's good enough for me.
honestly, that says a lot because Al could have picked any color X-Wrap he wanted, and if he's reaching for the pink, think pink, bros.
Yeah,
but don't you put on special what you can't sell?
That's so true.
Well, there's that too.
Would people buy it? There's this thing about shot colors. Like I've thrown straight up fluorescent orange for largemouth, and they freaking hammer it. Mm-hmm. What the hell's that looking like in the water?
Here's
that color right there, cold water, man. I've nailed them on it.
Here's a color for you.
What's a merthiolate trickworm doing around in the spring?
A merthiolate trickworm, right?
What the hell is that?
Here's a color for you.
Nothing.
So the salmon and trout guys on Lake Michigan, and that's just my reference point, but they'll tell you how great the color Wonder Bread is. And then I start seeing how much Wonder Bread pops up in saltwater, top water.
Is that white? Is that white with multicolored polka dots?
Yeah, it's yellow, blue, and pink, basically, or chartreuse blue and pink. But I made the comment, I'm like, I basically think if you don't see the color, right, it's a differentiation of color that breaks up the profile of the bait because it's spotted, right? So I think that might be the draw of a Wonder Bread colored bait because it's different colors. They don't all, it still looks like shades, so it looks like a differentiated, broken up pattern is basically what I think it looks like.
I wish. I know you would never do this to that special Barracuda behind you, but if you could paint him Wonder Bread, I'd really appreciate it. And so would the stream.
Paint him Wonder Bread.
Yeah.
I like Wonder Bread.
I know. Who knows, man? That's the magic. What we're talking about right now is the chase. It's in color, in particular, in color theory. It's all in our heads, right? There was a salmon fisherman out of, I think, the West Coast, for sure, almost. I think his name was Dr. Kiyarama or Kagirama or something. And he studied the color cone receptors. He was an ophthalmologist, by the way, in a salmon's eye to explain why some of those popular color combinations in salmon flies worked so well because of their color cone receptors. Now, what we do know about bass is this for a fact. This is from Berkeley.
See, here's the education coming.
That bass's eyes are geared towards contrast.
Contrast. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Contrast. So you contrast. What are contrasting colors? Black is a great contrast color, right? I mean, how many people throw straight black? Words of wisdoms, maybe from the pro. All you need is two color jigs, black and brown. But black is in the conversation. How many people throw straight black anymore? We always want flake, this, that, and the other. It's early for us, probably, but who knows?
Well, I mean, probably if you were to pick one jig color in combination, it might be more deadly than any other color. Black. What about a black and brown rubber jig? John, you know about that, right? A black and brown rubber jig. I mean, how crazy is that? Where would that not work? There's not a location.
Or black and blue. I mean, black and blue. So black is one of the highest contrasting colors. Black frogs, black topwaters, black worms, black, right? Anyway, blue, apparently, I remember this from a study. Now it's our eyes. There was a diver deep. I think blue was the last color to disappear at depth. Is that true? Did I remember that right?
That's what I think you've said before.
Yeah, I think blue. So black, you got a contrasting color with the last color to disappear at depth. I don't know. Sound off, stream. Is this all bullshit? Who knows? But we know black is a very high.
We all have some different colors, though. We all do. John, what do you think? What do you think?
That gives us confidence, man. You got to do it.
I don't know. When you're in the jig business, it's difficult because when I started, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to be the other guys. I'm going to have black, brown, green pumpkin, whatever, just the staples.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get the guy who's like, oh, do you have PB&J? I'm like, yeah, I need that. Put that in.
Yes, and it keeps adding up. Summer craw. I need a brighter green and a brown. I need some type of summer craw.
Wait, what you're trying to do there, though, think about it, and this might make sense. When we're trying to do things like summer craw, it's an excellent example, by the way, you're trying to match the hatch. Is it true that crawfish in a grass bed, this is very true. I found this super fascinating. There was a Wired to Fish video. They had a biologist who understood crayfish colors. And there's a vitamin when crayfish feed on the grass and it turns in particular colors. So if you're in a grass bed, pay attention to that, right? Those crayfish are going to take on a certain color because they're eating the grass and it turns their shell a particular color. Fascinating. Anyway.
And with that all said, I mean, there has never been a time in my life where I couldn't put a green pumpkin anything on and catch fish. Like it's always worked.
So why do the pros say green pumpkin is you got to have it in your bag, right? I mean, you talk to any pro if they're giving you advice on how to narrow down your color pattern. If you're not carrying green pumpkin, that's just foolish, right? Top producer, any water quality, clarity. To clear water, to dirty water, they'll find it. And on a jig, if you got a black jig, the trailer is now my accent color. Get the red, I could throw blue. I
Right.
could throw green pumpkin. There's no rules. Why does it always have to be black and blue? It doesn't. It could be
John,
fire engine red, right?
John,
Anyway,
here's something for you. So Eric, I think is going to like this one too. But so you're a jig maker and you design your jigs, and basically you told your story of how you started making jigs. So the question is, what are you putting on the back end for trailers in your different applications? Football jigs, and then let's call it your swim jigs or flipping jigs. What are some of your go-to trailers that you like?
We can make it even tougher. You could only carry one bag for each application. What's your number one football?
Yeah. I like it. Very, very good, Eric.
I have always thought that the part that I want them to eat should look exactly like the creature they're trying to eat. So I have 300 bags of Crazy Legs, Chigger Craws, Green Pumpkin. And I have a 12-inch long peg. I have a 12-inch long peg, and they're crammed on. And then next to it is a Bass Mafia bag with loose, just filled to the top.
Unbelievable.
What size, John? 3s or 4s?
4.
It's a 4-inch.
Yep. Don't they have a smaller one too? The Chigger Craw?
Yeah.
The Chigger Craw, but he's talking about the Crazy Legs. This is the
crazy leg. I got this.
John, this
I didn't hear the crazy
color.
part.
This is the color I threw when I caught that 63 on your Dem Jigs, baby. Right there.
There's nothing else. There are no secrets, no nothing. I feel 100% that the attractor to the bait is the skirt in a football head. The attractor, the motion and the color lets them see it. And they're smart enough to see what's in the center of that wrapping paper that you just busted open. And they're going to get the part you want them to, because the trailer is attached to the hook. The skirt is attached to the head.
True.
It's a crazy concept, but I've always felt like that. Whenever I have fished some crazy colors, but the trailer is always the same. And I learned that from a guy, I'm going to say 15 years ago. He was using, we were fishing deep trees at Shelbyville, Illinois.
Okay.
It was a state qualifier, and I was the guy that was matchy. If I had a black and blue jig, I had a black and blue trailer. If I had a brown skirt, I had a brown trailer. I was that guy. Had to be perfect. They had to match. I wanted it to look like one animal, one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was a co-angler in the state qualifier, and this dude was throwing a green jig that was like $1.50. It was like the Rattleback jig from like Walmart. And he had a Band-Aid colored Zoom chunk trailer on it. Green and Band-Aid color. He's 4-pounder, 3-pounder. I'm like, ooh, you're wearing brown shoes and a black belt, buddy. You know,
Band-Aid color.
It was horrible, but he was catching fish. Why? Because they were targeting the Band-Aid color as the part they wanted to eat, and he knew that.
And contrast, but contrast.
Yes, the contrast,
man. That contrast. Right. Band-Aid color freaking trailer on a green or a watermelon. Watermelon?
It was like green. It was like, this is green. Again. What were those called? Rattleback from.
Denny Brower. Rattleback jig, triple Rattleback.
They were like $1.
Yeah.
They didn't even have a package. They just had a price tag on them.
They just had a price tag. What about swim jigs, John? Are you putting the same? Are you putting a different trailer on a swim jig?
I use a missile based Shockwave on pretty much everything.
Okay.
I feel like
it must be a Midwest thing. I'm a crawl guy. Go ahead. Tell me your why.
Yeah. I feel like I guess I'm not going to say I'm stumped by. I have and I will tell you this, and I'll tell everybody that when I fish a football head, I swim it with a craw and I get crushed. But when I use a swim jig, I feel like I'm trying to be a bluegill.
Sure.
I feel like I'm trying to be a shad. I'm trying to be a perch. I'm trying to be something in a river system. I'm trying to be swimming. So I want a paddle tail. I want to look like a fish. When I build a jig, I build it so the profile of the jig when swimming, it is exactly what it does when it hangs upside down. The resistance of water holds the jig exactly like this, parallel.
Yeah.
And becomes the body of the bait fish.
Right on.
When I use a bait fish trailer on a swim jig, I only want to, I don't care what color it is. It's the vibration.
Sure.
Only the vibration that I want out of the paddle tail. That's why I use the missile shockwave. It's for me, it's got enough vibration. It's not a crazy, I don't have to do any tricks. I don't have to turn it upside down to get it to not ride high like a Kitech or whatever. I feel like it's the happy medium all the time, because there are guys that just use straight tail flukes on a swim jig when they're trying to be subtle, no vibration. They want to be quiet and silent, and the fish could see it really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I have guys all the time. I have guys that fish them without trailers.
That's crazy. Isn't that wild?
John, I've said that several shows. Like, I'll fish jigs without trailers sometimes. Just depends on how I design the skirt. And people hear me say this all the time, but I'll even on a swim jig, I'll even put a Zoom finesse worm on the back end and thread it on just as something dangling off the back end.
This just in. I have to interrupt the show for this important news report. Bill Dance has already reached out to us and said he's getting us for copyright infringement. He's done it. I don't know if you guys could see that, but right there on, let me get my camera to try to focus. It says, hold on. It says, "In Jigs We Trust," right on his t-shirt. I can't freaking believe it, man.
Is that Brandon taking care of business?
It's Brandon, man. That's freaking brilliant. In
So
Jigs
great.
We Trust. I'll send that to you, Kuda.
Well, Bill Dance, brother, welcome to Jig Squad, dude.
That's right.
You take all of them, even you Tennessee fans.
Dang it, Bill. Dang it,
Welcome, Bill. I'm glad you got out of Furnace Bay.
It's always somebody. You think you come up with something, and then
that's right. There it is, man. Bill Dance.
That's hilarious.
So, all right, John, so the shockwave. Go ahead. What's that?
Shockwave. Keep going.
All right, now flipping jig, flipping trailer, flipping, skipping, skippy, flippy.
When I am skipping, obviously it depends on what I'm fishing for. Sure. What I'm trying to be, because I've in plenty of tournaments I've skipped a swim bait and a swim jig. And that is when you're early spring, when they're protecting beds and stuff like that. You want to swim one past it. But when I'm skipping, when I'm throwing a dock, when I'm flipping, it's a beaver.
Yeah.
I take a beaver, I bite off a 1/4 inch, screw it on, and it is as flat as a pancake.
Sure enough.
I trim out the inside of the skirt.
Yep.
So I'm 50% probably on skirt. I saw one of the tips that one of your other guys,
Brian's Custom. Yeah. Omerta.
Oh, yeah. Cutting out the material on the bottom.
Yeah. He cut
or
out
just
the bottom.
tying it that way. Yeah.
Tie it that way.
Yeah.
He ties it that way.
Yeah. I think it's a great idea. I'm going to try it. I'm going to steal it. I'm not.
I'll tell you, that technique of design is probably one. There's lots of cool little tips, but in terms of a solid just design idea, Evan Luda, it's like this is not a complicated thing, but here he is. Like, you look at his jig, and it's like he's got a flat bottomed archy styled head, and it's like, this is phenomenal. And it's such a great concept. And he goes as far. What is crazy about what Evan says, from Omerta Tackle. He says he'll go as far as to say that he can outcast himself if he was to switch from a regular jig to a jig with the material not on the bottom 3 times more. He could get 3 times better of a skipping cast under docks. That's freaking pretty darn impressive. And I'm going to do the same thing, John. I'm stealing his idea and I'm going to make some for myself and use it. I want to see if it works.
Wait a minute. That's not supporting Jig Makers of America. You buy his goddamn jig.
Well, I don't buy people's jigs. I make my own. And I even asked Evan, I said, Evan, how do you feel about people designing jigs like that? Is there a difference between people just designing like that or people selling jigs like that? He goes, yeah, there's a difference. And he said that.
Fair enough.
You know, so this isn't something I wouldn't sell. Because Eric, do you remember we had that conversation about how we give credit to the designers of, you know, it came before us or that gave us those ideas. So
big time.
I would follow that pathway. I wouldn't rogue them completely.
Tip of the hat. Tip of the hat.
It's a great design.
You don't want to fool with Omerta, man.
Dude, these Italian guys are crazy. They start talking to you. They throw spaghetti sauce at you. I mean, there's all kinds of things they're going to do.
La vendere è contra tutti la Jig Familia. Listen to what I just said. La vendere è contra tutti la Jig Familia. That means
sounds delicious.
The vendettas against the whole Jig family, not just Evan, the whole Jig family.
Hey, the whole squad's ready. Come on. We got
Chi-Town action, baby.
We are Omerta. We are all Omerta.
Jig Makers are rough, man. It's like South Side, North Side, Chi-Town.
Oh, God, dude. We had him on. We love him. He's part of the family.
What about a jig maker?
Code of silence?
Yes.
Code of silence, right?
Yes.
He couldn't hide that one because he sells that jig. Like, it's not like this is just like his own little jig style. He sells jigs like that, you know, which is crazy.
The name of his company is Omerta. That is the Code of Silence. That's right.
And the
whole concept is like if you're fishing a jig and you got this thing and he makes a jig for a guy that's working, he will never sell that jig to anybody else. He's never going to tell him what he makes. His special formulation is just
for that color combination, whatever it is, it's theirs.
You know how hard it is. Here, get this. So
that's a fact.
Let's see what John says about this because I'm sure he's got guys like this too.
This is horrible for me,
man.
This is horrible for me because
why?
I fish against
these guys.
That's so true.
There are times where I'm literally bringing bullets. I'm bringing bullets for these guys. 7 different guys. The top 5 in the tournament are all using my jig.
Oh my gosh.
I love it. I love it. And it makes me feel good that they trust their tournament to it. But when you literally have a guy that's not catching fish in a tournament he's in top 10 once or twice a year and he buys them and he goes, dude, I took 3rd. You're like, yeah, I took 4th. Thanks. You know?
Exactly.
So
it's hard because here, to answer your question, you got guys that come to me and go, hey, can you do this, and they buy 50 of them. And you go, ugh. Yeah, that's what I use, but now I can't use it because if you see it on the deck of my boat, you're going to think that I'm copying you.
I'm copying you, right?
I got to retire the color.
Yep,
it's horrible.
It's true.
It is. Or
it's true.
You're like, oh, is that what you're doing? You know,
John, let me ask you a question. 2022 for Dem Jigs. So you have some personal things you're going to be doing, fishing the individual and team tournaments up on the Wisconsin Trail, right? Mm-hmm. But besides that, company wise for Dem Jigs, what are you hoping to accomplish in 2022? Is there anything different, more of the same? What's the plans for 2022 for Dem Jigs?
I'm going to say that I have some irons in the fire, and my goal for 2022 is to be able to direct people from my website to where they can buy my jigs.
Okay.
Not that I don't like it. I love when you get an order and there's 7 jigs and they're all a different color and you make them and you go to the post office and that's how things began. You know, that's people trying you out going, hey, I want one of each. You make those, you send them, and then that person orders 10 or 15 the next time of this color because that was their favorite. I want to be able to tie like where my passion is. You know what I mean? I want to be able to tie and tie for myself, tie for some close friends, tie for some pros that use this stuff and don't really, need a name behind it. There are a lot of things that I want to do. I want to keep it niche. I want to keep it underground, the hand tie, and then I want the banded jig and the more mass produced. If that sounds like it, it's still designed. It's still quality. It's not, and I can't knock another hook. I can't say, oh, you don't want to buy because I'm friends with so many jig makers and they use these hooks. We just have different ideas, So when I say,
well said,
I want to sell something that somebody looks at in a picture and goes, that's cool. And then gets it and says, that's even cooler. And then uses it and catches fish and uses it and has confidence in it and uses it and then loves it so much that they tell somebody else about it. That's a product to be proud of. And that's what a business is for.
Sure.
To make people love your product so they buy it and tell two friends. But the goal for 2022, to answer your question, is to have someone giant sell your jig.
There you go.
That's a great comment, John. And I'm gonna tell you something. So everyone I wind up talking to through this Jig Squad experience, there's always little things that, there's lots of things I pick up from a lot of different people, right? I just believe like there's parts of relationships that we have with other people and, that excite us, that we're drawn to, things they say, things that motivate us. And I want to tell you something, that one of the things that you had said that just made me feel, I'm going to be honest, really good about why I'm doing Jig Squad, why I put this time in on this, why I've done these things. It reinforced a lot of that to me. And I want to tell you what it was because it was important to me. And you had said that I'm excited about designing jigs again. And that from just being a designer, and it wasn't even about the business end. And I am happy I heard the business end because that's kind of your story and who you are, right? But when you said that about you and you said, I want to come on the show and just be a designer. And I'm proud of you for saying that because that excites me. It just it reminds me that our relationships that we form with each other and this whole experience of chatting on a YouTube channel, I didn't know how to do any of this stuff. But I just want to tell you that that's the exact reason why, like, I'm doing this and I love this. And I think, frankly, I don't want to speak for Eric, but I'm going to say this, that motivates him to be part of the Jig Squad discussions, right?
No, heck yeah, dude. That's why I'm here.
I'm so proud to hear you say those things. And if it's only because of how we're just trying to put Jig Squad out there and what it is, if that's how it made you feel, then hey, we're doing what we're supposed to do, right?
Right on, brother.
And so I appreciate that so much because you guys got to understand. So this is everyone around the country, and even there's people in other countries that are going to see the show on replay. But you got to understand, Dem Jigs is like a cult experience in the Chicago or southern Wisconsin area. Like,
that's pretty cool.
People that fish Lake Geneva and Delavan and even into the Great Lakes, like everyone knows Dem Jigs, whether they fish them all the time or know about John or things like that. Around here, like many of you maybe know the name Brovarney for the swim jigs, but you got to understand Dem Jigs is up there too, or in our area. And if anyone deserves to go on a larger scale, it's Dem Jigs. John's been around a long time. John, I'm telling you, one time I'm going to get you on too for another show, and we're going to do like a Chicago feature. Eric, we'll get you on too, going back to talk about like a show about Lee's, because that'll be a whole nother show sometime. But I don't know, dude. These are the things that excite me. So tell me one more thing. I want you to have a chance to talk about what you're going to be fishing this year, because you're fishing a very second year of this, a very unique opportunity coming out of Wisconsin, right? So you want to talk about that a little bit about what you're going to be fishing?
Yeah. No, there a couple of years ago they started. In fact, I think it was 2019 was their first year out of Appleton, Wisconsin. Head-to-head fishing was a bracket format, and I don't want to say I've never seen anything like it, and it interested in me. They came down.
John, did they spin out of the Wisconsin Bass Federation? I mean, was it the Wisco Bass that started those individual or one-on-one tournaments, or was it not? That's not the case.
No.
Isn't it the guy from the Real Shot?
The owner of the Real Shot, Brian, Keller, is the brainchild behind head-to-head fishing. It was something that he wanted to do, and he's the type of guy to say, "Hey, if I can make it happen, I'm going to do it, and this is how I want it to work." And he's like any of us. When you have a passion for something, you go and you get the split screens and all the cameras and all the stuff, and you say, "If I could do this, I'm going to do it right." Created a production company, fixed production. Just it's an amazing thing.
Very cool.
He wanted to put bass fishing back into the mainstream. Bassmaster and all these guys, they're putting it on FX2. They're doing all this live stuff, but they were doing this live stuff before. It was split screen, you versus this guy, 16 guys in a bracket. I was fortunate to win the first event that I went in. And,
pretty cool.
It was an amazing experience. I wanted to do more. I wanted to be a part of it. Now this year they took a year off last year and went walleye, but this year they're going bass again. They've upped the ante. It's a higher entry fee, a higher prize to win, and it's teams. So now
that's cool.
You got 16 teams in a bracket format. It's going to be amazing. And
that's very cool, man.
Yeah, they're fishing some local lakes. For me, Lake Geneva is my home body of water, and there are 16 teams fishing it, and they are all studs. Every single one of them.
Stud teams.
If somebody just picked one name out of the 16 and said it out loud, I go, okay, they could win.
And John, there's going to be some big time names coming in to fish this thing next year, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of pros fishing. A lot of
really?
guys there's a lot of guys that are that fish the opens. There are guys that fish Lake Geneva and take my money. There are a lot of guys that do this on this lake all the time. One of the names stands out because, I mean, back in the day, I was a co-angler on the Elite Series in 2007, I believe, and I stayed right next to Kevin Worth. Kevin Worth was fishing it. He will never remember me, and not in a million years. But he is fishing at 17 Bassmaster Classics. And I'm fishing against this dude.
That's pretty cool.
There's legitimacy to it. Like Ken and some of the other guys in chat even said, like they loved watching the videos of it with the cameramen in the boat. And I definitely think, I mean, that year off didn't 100% help, but the thing is that it's going to pick up more steam. So I'm kind of excited. It's a cool thing. I'm interested to see what becomes of it all,
Yeah, you gotta keep doing it. And I'm not one to tell. I mean, it's always easy to be that armchair quarterback or whatever. Whatever it takes them to continue to do it, if they could just keep doing it, it's almost like a diet. Who loses weight dieting one day? You got to keep doing it to get progress. And if they build it, which they have, they're going to get the viewers. It's hard when you look and you see that some kid making a lure out of a GoPro and catching a bass gets 1 million views, but a tournament circuit gets 2,600.
So crazy.
Right.
And you go, oh,
I know, right? What the heck?
Right.
Anyway,
where are we at?
I wanted to show this before the stream ends because I feel like we're winding down. Kuda.
Yeah, a little bit.
This is my little make me big, man. Make me big. I want to show, man.
Making me big, man.
So that's a little tungsten ball head, John. That's that little perch rig, man. See it with that Gamakatsu, big old eye, and anyway, like a 360, and that's a Gamakatsu. Look, G-lock hook, man. See the tipped up point in red.
Yeah,
who knew?
Awesome.
So Eric, I'm going to say something. I don't want to.
And this came through cover pretty damn good, dude.
Eric, I'm going to tell you something, and I haven't said it because I know you've talked about that eyeball, that head lure, but oh my God, I can't believe I'm even going to say this. So Eric, that style head, Eric got that head. That's, where'd you say, Eric? You got, it's a European somewhere, right?
Somewhere, man. I don't know. I was digging
around on
the internet.
I'm going
to
is it a Xander lure?
I can't even believe I'm going to say this.
That's what it is.
All right. Well, listen, Brennan Chapman, if you're still out in chat, don't ever say that I don't do anything for my love company.
This is tungsten, by the way. So if you could pour tungsten, let me know.
So be it. You enjoy your tungsten. All I'm telling you is Do It Molds does have that mold.
I love it.
It's out of stock. And I've been waiting for it to come back into stock. And I probably should have waited till after I got the mold and it came back in stock to ever mention it here. But shit, this is what we do.
So do they?
And I'm bringing it up. But Do It Molds has that mold down to 1/8 ounce sizes. 3/16 quarter.
Good. Do they make it in a little pointy head to come through grass as well? Because there's a little sled head I got. I just dropped it. Damn it.
That's your fancy tungsten one.
No, the sled head was lead. Do they make a sled head one too?
I don't know. You got to show me what the sled head looks like.
Listen,
I will tell you this: there's going to be a couple of new molds coming out from Do It Molds though that people might be interested in. So
I got to get into my bag.
Eric,
stay tuned for that.
I'm disappointed because I tied you a shaky head. I tied you a shaky head with living rubber and.
Oh man, I'm so pissed off. Damn it! I didn't know you freaking FedEx. There it is, Kuda. See it?
Oh yeah. Oh, gee, I haven't seen that before. Hold on, Eric. Let me make you big. I want to see it a little closer.
See can
I got you.
Can anybody read that? What does that say?
I don't
even know, man.
I don't know.
Yeah, man. Chabruska.
Very cool. So, John, listen, it was awesome having you on, buddy. I do want to get you on again down the line, and I kind of want to hang out and have a beer. We're gonna have to get together this season a little bit, and I'm gonna have to head up your way.
Yeah, you could. You know what? I have three bar stools, a big TV, and my tying station is.
Can you guys live stream me in for that meeting?
Yeah, you want to do it? Hey, John, let me ask you a question. Before we get out of here, do you want to do a little do you even want to show that the tying thing, or you want to save that for another time? Can you pull it off with the laptop, or is that going to cause problems?
Yeah, no, I can spin it around.
All right. Give me here, I'm going to say one word on this. John designed, basically modified a tying vise in order to increase the efficiency of his tying. And I want him to have a chance to show this. If you could do it, John.
You want to kill me and I'll readjust the.
Do you need to?
Yeah.
You want me to bring you out for a minute, and then when you're ready. All right. When you're ready, I'll bring you back in. So John,
he's gonna do a demonstration.
He's gonna pull out. He's made a modification to his vise that he's really he loves. He's excited about.
He's gonna show it.
He's backstage. He hasn't left. I just pulled him out for a second as he moves this thing around. No, but he's
gonna show it. I can't believe he's gonna show it. This is awesome. I mean, last week we had a tying demonstration.
I know.
This week you're going to show a custom vise.
Oh yeah, hold on. I'm going to add him back in.
Man, this
is so getting close. So hold on, John. I'm going to make you big too.
Okay, that's hot. It's got a clip.
Right. Oh yeah, John. We see it good.
What in the heck? That's perfect.
All right, let me get my glasses.
This is awesome. Kuda, this is awesome.
I had to do it because
This is the show capper.
John showed this to me. He told me about it like a month and a half ago, right?
I'm tripping. Look at that.
And then
gator
he
clip,
showed
man.
me, and I go,
That's for holding skirt material, I guess. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
He's got a pair of pliers sitting there.
yes.
I'm trying to figure this out.
This
man.
is how
It's
he
blowing my
electrifies his jigs.
This is
Whoa! Look how sexy that is. Look at those
This is
bids.
it.
Look at that organization.
Whole squad ready. This is why we're the Jig Squad, folks.
Squad ready, baby.
all right. I guess it really doesn't matter what color.
No, it doesn't matter.
As long as it's black or brown.
We good? Can you see?
Yeah, it looks great.
Dude, you are perfect.
All right.
This is so crazy. Look at this, man. Tabs coming together.
I love it.
Dude,
All right. So this is crazy, right?
I'm dying over here.
Here, let me do this. I'm just going to do an orange bottom and a green top, right?
Perfect. Yes.
Beautiful.
No way. What? Whoa.
Whole squad ready. This is why we do this.
Oh my God.
Look at that.
I was struggling tired of custom chatterbait today. Oh my God. No way. You can put material
Everything's on
wherever
there.
you want.
Wherever you want.
Got my handy dandy wire coming through the table.
Look at that.
You see that wire over there, guys? Look at this.
So this goes around the neck, creates a hoop, come through.
What the hell just happened?
Magic.
Kuda, that took all of about, I don't even know.
You guys thought I was ready to just blow out of here without some extra magic at the end. No way.
Boom. That's the fastest I've ever seen him tie a jig.
That extended clamp being further out is phenomenal. I mean, you can use little hair clips, and I'll use that, but to have that clamp pulling that material further away is phenomenal.
John.
That's beautiful, John.
Wow.
So here's the deal. So this thing, I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah, we could see it.
Yeah, we can see it.
This device, I saw this on a vise. It was like a $400 or $500 vise. I saw this, and what it was a bobbin holder.
A bobbin holder.
There was a thing coming out that held your bobbin.
Yes.
Right. And so I saw it. I grabbed one. I had a buddy in a shop duplicate it. So this is like a trombone. This thing goes in and out.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna make
shorter
one of those.
shorter jig, longer jig, right? Up or down, whatever direction.
What?
So now it's just completely hands-free.
That's phenomenal.
Wow.
John. I appreciate John. I appreciate you showing that, because you didn't need to show people that, but it's a super cool tool. And guys, listen, if you can figure out, if you got a vise with a bobbin holder, if you don't have a device with a bobbin holder, you can always buy a screw on to the main shaft of your vise, add on bobbin holder, and modify and try and make adjustments yourself to try and make that piece. Just try and be creative.
No,
I know I'm going to try and make one.
I got 60 of them.
I'm ordering mine right now.
No, I'll send it to you, because here's the deal. I took, you know what a welding rod is?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this.
That's all that is a welding rod?
This is a welding rod
No.
that I bent around a piece of PVC to make it round.
Yeah.
And then I soldered a battery clip on it. I
That's
put
so
some
cool.
tubing on it just so it wasn't metal.
Yeah.
You have more
But
of those, John? Can I buy one of those from you?
Yeah.
I'm in, dude.
So this is a funny story about this thing. So I was at Lee's and I had an individual that was in there. He's a pro fisherman. His name's Shin Fukai.
Oh, the finesse master. He's one of my favorites.
Just a random Joe.
He's one of my favorites.
So my guy, my buddy John, the owner of Lee's, goes, John, show him your jig. Show him your jig. So I'm showing him the jigs. And he's like, oh, I can't. Thank you. I can't. I have a jig sponsor, blah, blah, blah. And I was tying him in the hallway. And he came out and he goes, forget your jig. What's that? He wanted this tying thing. And I gave it to him. And
oh, wow.
I mean, this thing has eliminated needing. And if I should probably do a video to describe the things that you could do with it, because I can create a jig and have materials because they're pinched and taut. I can have them exactly where they need to be using that. Do you remember that twisting technique that I was telling you about?
John, I got you.
Yep.
Isolate the color in a twist,
Yes.
Stays right where you need to get it. I could do a rainbow jig. I could isolate every single color with this because it just holds it still.
So
and then you tie it when it's
That's so awesome. Great deal, buddy.
Man, John.
Thank you for showing us, John.
That's unbelievable.
No, thanks for bearing with me and looking at it. It's probably not the best demonstration, but
no.
That was spot on and perfect. There were people like geeking out in the comments.
People love it.
He goes, there's 58 people in chat now. You'll have 2 left at the end of the night.
The funny thing is like nobody realizes the thought that went into this little tying station.
Yes.
Because my tools are sitting on magnets because I was tired of dumping pliers into the garbage. And, I mean, look at this.
Oh, yeah.
Can you see this one? No.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
These are hold on. Let me move this thing.
This is even better. We got an articulated tool holder.
God, you got to look at that.
They're tool holders. Pliers. Wow.
Oh, you just gave me an idea. I have those magnetic strips that I've gotten from like Harbor Freight. I'll just drill them underneath the desk and then swing them. That's a great idea, dude.
You put a hole in the back, and then you put a piece of wood with 2 screws, and that keeps them from falling. They slide back and forth. I'm telling you, when you see it, you're gonna go, okay.
Lots of good ideas tonight.
Brilliant, man.
Hold on. One last thing.
No way.
I love it. Hey, Gary said one
see
thing.
The wire or no?
Oh yeah.
It's on a screw through the table.
That's so perfect.
Can you see it?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. I love the little shop tips, John. That's the best.
You know what? I'll tell you, half of the stuff that I've done, I mean, you learn from other people, right?
Yes.
I used to sit here like an idiot when you get like a banded skirt, and I'd sit here with a tool and separate.
Yeah.
And then Ryan Whitaker goes, done. Anyway,
that's hilarious.
Wow, man.
Save you time.
John, this was awesome, buddy. I do want to get you back on again. Yeah, it was awesome, dude. You guys remember, I never say this, but I'm going to start saying it. Remember to hit the like and subscribe, share the stream, tell your friends about it. Our community is as strong as we make it, and you are a part of it. John, I can't thank you enough for coming on tonight, brother. It's been fantastic, and I hope to get you on again. Any words?
Man. Yeah. What wire gauge do you use? Because there's
wire gauge. Yeah,
there's been people asking.
26.
That's my number.
But there's a key, and I obviously am not sponsored by anybody like Menards, but Menards sells these silly little pliers.
Yeah.
Okay. And the reason they're successful with 26 gauge wire is there are no teeth. It's smooth.
Okay.
If you have teeth, it'll cut
it. Very interesting. Whoa.
Yeah. 26 gauge. I've been using black 26 gauge artistic wire from Beadalon for 9 years, probably.
Unbelievable.
That's good to know.
Black copper.
I like the black 26 myself. Good tip. John, thank you very much, buddy.
This was epic.
Thanks for having me. It was an absolute honor
to
be here with you guys.
Thank you, buddy.
Like
it was fun. We're gonna do it again. I think we should do a fun little throwback to the Chicago fishing scene one time, maybe
dude,
this summer.
I don't think you understand what you're about to unleash, because that's going to be a JDM deep
It is.
dive.
It's going to be JDM because Lee's. I know Lee's. I remember when John and I know when like Lee started. We had talked about it for like an hour. It was crazy, but that's for another time.
It'll be a show and tell. Like, oh
yeah,
my God.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. We'll have to. You guys will have to show me how to zoom in on stuff because I got some stuff from.
Oh yeah,
the 90s that were mega bass things that
lots of crazy stuff.
Yeah, things that we didn't even know what it was.
All right, you guys, listen, we'll go on forever, but John, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you a ton. Everyone out there live in chat, or whether you're watching on replay, we are Jig Squad. You are Jig Squad. We appreciate you a ton.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
And we are out. Thank you, everyone.
You know it, man.
Right. Don't forget that next day package.
I'm going to the
Eric's got to check.
I'm walking the hell out of my house and going.
Eric's got to check. Peace, everyone.